The girl was hit by a truck head-on while going to school. She fell heavily to the ground, blood pouring from her mouth. However, when the ambulance arrived, it tragically took the girl's life. Right next to them was a public hospital, but the driver insisted on turning around and going to a private hospital 10 kilometers away. This was because he would receive a high commission for doing so. An hour later, the girl was taken into the operating room. But the doctor said that the girl had missed the best treatment time. If they had arrived 10 minutes earlier, maybe she could have been saved. However, the Heartless hospital director had no intention of letting the girl go. He instructed the doctor to prolong the girl's life with a ventilator and then deceived the father by saying that if they operated now, the success rate would be 99%. However, the surgery cost 600,000 yuan, and the father, a tricycle driver, did not have that much money. But in order to save his daughter, he borrowed from all his relatives, even selling his wife's dowry jewelry. After finally collecting the surgery fee, the subsequent actions were infuriating. The doctor pushed the daughter into the operating room, only to perform a simple wipe of the wound and pretend that the surgery was just completed. When the daughter breathed her last breath in pain, the doctor apologetically said that they had tried their best. Upon hearing this news, the mother wailed in grief. She wanted to see her daughter one last time, but the hospital director added insult to injury. In order to take the daughter away, they had to pay an additional 150 yuan for the body. What kind of ridiculous rule was this? The couple not only accumulated a high amount of debt but also lost their daughter's life. And now, they had to pay to see her one last time. Helpless, the mother smashed the window glass. She wanted to use her own death to condemn this heartless hospital. But unexpectedly, under the manipulation of the Heartless director, the mother became an unreasonable troublemaker. However, evil people will eventually face their retribution. A few months later, four murders occurred. The ambulance driver, the corrupt hospital director, and the unethical doctor were all victims. The culprits were quickly captured. As they were questioned by the police chief, the man revealed the details of the girl's murder. The police chief couldn't help but shed tears upon hearing the story, but he believed that the man should not have resorted to vigilante justice and must be punished accordingly. But in the next second, the handcuffs were suddenly on the police chief's hand. The man then revealed the tragedy from 20 years ago. There was a pregnant woman who was about to give birth. After the doctor examined her, he prepared for a natural delivery, but the Heartless hospital owner denied this plan when he found out. He immediately ordered the doctor to prepare for a cesarean section. The doctor was puzzled, but the owner said that a natural delivery meant the woman could leave the hospital the next day, while a cesarean section meant she would stay for at least 7 days. This was clearly an opportunity for them to make more money. So they immediately modified the report, falsely claiming that the baby had a nuptial cord. The husband, in a state of anxiety, signed the surgery consent form without hesitation. Little did they know that the hospital was not equipped for the operation. Due to a miscalculation in anesthesia, the baby stopped breathing as soon as it was born. Although the wife was in a state of semi-consciousness, she heard everything. Her whole body trembled and convulsed. This scene happened to be discovered by the husband, who happened to come in accidentally. The wife told him the truth and then died. The husband was devastated and immediately punched the doctor unconscious. He went to the office, intending to seek revenge from the owner, but the owner had already fled in his car. The man could only pick up his eldest son and go back to seek help. As they reached the door, a glass bottle suddenly flew towards them. It turned out that the owner wanted to kill them to silence them. The man desperately protected his child and hid him in the car. Then he diverted the enemy's attention alone. He grabbed a machete, vowing to send these demons to hell, but there were too many of them, and he was caught off guard and stabbed multiple times. At that moment, the doctor appeared and delivered a fatal blow to the man. Unable to hold on any longer, he fell to the ground and died. This scene happened to be witnessed by the man's younger brother. However, no one could have predicted that the man's two sons miraculously survived. 20 years later, the older brother became a doctor, and the younger brother became a magician. Meanwhile, the Heartless owner thrived. He not only became the CEO of a listed company but also opened hundreds of private hospitals. But all the money he earned was tainted. Who knew how many poor families he had harmed? Now, the uncle found the two brothers and revealed the truth about their parents' murder. The brothers decided to seek revenge for their parents. They designed a kidnapping and abducted the owner's nephew. The owner, accompanied by his subordinates, arrived at a warehouse. Suddenly, a glass bottle flew out, narrowly avoiding giving him a concussion. Then more and more bottles came flying towards him. Finally, the owner remembered that 20 years ago, he had used this method to kill the brother's father. At that moment, the two brothers appeared, and a group of thugs rushed forward. However, they were no match for the brothers and were beaten black and blue. The owner tried to beg for mercy, but he received the cruelest punishment in the end. The next day, a mysterious iron box appeared in front of the Heartless company's door. Along with a 50-cent coin landing, a mechanism was instantly triggered. Inside the box, the owner finally received the punishment he deserved. Soon after, the younger brother turned himself in. Before his execution, he said that healthcare was the most sacred profession in the world and should not be treated as a business. If anyone dared to do so, even if he was in hell, he would crawl out and personally send that person to hell. Surprisingly, the next day, a news report came out. A poor woman had been killed by a heartless hospital, and her husband had been swindled of his entire fortune. Upon hearing this, the younger brother said nothing but silently lifted the newspaper in his hand. Suddenly, the nearby inmates turned their heads, saying,